Ashrei hoish asher lo halach b'atzas rishoim, u'v'derech hatoim lo yomod, u'v'moitzav leitzim lo yashav. Ki im b'toiras Adonai cheftzai, u'v'seiraso yege yomam v'loila. V'hoya ke'etz shasol al palgei moyim, asher piryo yitein b'itoi, ve'olehu lo yiboil, ve'chol asher yaseh yatzliach. Lo yechein horishoim, ki im kamoitz, asher tidfenu ruach. Al kein lo yokumu rishoim b'mishpat, ve'chatoim ba'adas tzadikim, ki yoidea Adonai derech tzadikim, ve'derech rishoim toivid. Mizmor leDavid, Adonai mi yogor be'ohalecha, mi yishkoin behar kodshecha. Hoylech tamim ufoyel tzedek, v'doiver emes bilvavoi. Lo yrohogal al lishaynoi, lo yasa lire'eu ra, v'cherpa lo nasa al kiroivoi. Niv ze be'enov nimas, ve'es yirei Adonai yechabed, nihishba lehara ve'lo yomir. Kaspoy lenosan beneshech, ve'shoichad al noki loilokach, oise ele lo yimot leolam. Mizmor leDavid, Adonai roi lo yachzor. B'noi steshe yarbitzeni, al me menuchois yenahaleni. Nafshi yeshovev, yahancheni b'magle tzedek, leman shemoi. Gam ki elech, begehitz al moves, lo yi'irara, ki ato imadi. Shiftecha u'mishantecha, Hehimo yenachamuni, ta'aroich lefonai shulchan, neged soiroi, dishantov Hashem en roishi, koisi rivoya. Ach toiv chesed, yirdefuni kol yemei chayoi, v'shavti beveis Adonai, li oirech yomim. El Molei.
We're here today as a community, a family, mourning the loss of our sister and daughter. Rivka Laura, this is not the way it was supposed to be. We prayed for you every day. We had no doubt, even for a moment, that you would have a complete recovery. And here we are. We're shocked. How do we make sense of such a loss? A beautiful person, a precious soul. We all have so many stories about you. My gosh, if they would let us stay here, we'd stay here for a whole week, each of us sharing about you, an incredible soul, and how you affected us, how you changed us. We're honored today to hear about your life from the two people who knew you best, your parents. We'd like to invite Eric to say a few words, followed by Bosmat.
Thank you, rabbis. Try and keep it short, but not that short. I guess that nobody can prepare you to have to come up here for a 22-year-old who's been sick for 8 years, never really had a childhood, and was taken from us decades too soon. Our children, Leah and Laura, have always been the only thing that matters to us. We never even had a babysitter, and we never went on a vacation without them. They always came. Laura endured more pain, suffering, anxiety in the last 8 years than any healthy person could endure in 2 full lifetimes. She should be in the Guinness book, seriously, she had the longest headache in history from 8 years ago. It never ceased. In her brief life, those of you that know her, she also inspired more people than most will do in a full lifetime. She endured 5 brain surgeries, each one more scary than the other. Each one, you never know what's going to happen in the end. Just the hours waiting, and I don't want to describe how painful. She had 2-month-long sessions of radiation, several bouts of chemotherapy, more than 50 MRIs, probably broke some records with her CT scans. I know she had more than 100 CT scans, and blood tests. Even though she has slippery veins, she was hundreds. And she never really complained about any of this, which kind of always freaked us out. So along her path of 8 years, she always loved life. It's one thing I can say about her. Nobody loved life more than her. She never lost hope. Even if others did, she never lost hope. She never gave up. She always had to make her own real important life and death decisions. We guided her, of course, but she had to make decisions that you don't expect children to have to make. Everyone who knew Laura understood she was bright, beautiful, strong, inspirational. Someone you just could never forget. With all the misery that she endured, she always took it with a smile, good humor, and above all, dignity. Almost impossible to believe. I never saw her depressed. And believe me, she had a lot of reasons to be depressed. Never depressed in 8 years. It's been a devastating journey seeing Laura losing more and more of her physical day-to-day abilities. Walking, and then a walker, and a wheelchair, and then bedridden. She's an amazing soul. In the past few weeks, she stopped moving completely. And the only thing she had left to communicate was her eyes. She was blinking her eyes to say things, to ask for things. And as always, she made the best of that. She made it very clear when she needed morphine, when she was in pain, when she wanted to thank somebody, when she wanted to say hello. When a visitor came, she blinked her eyes. And totally incredible. A little bit about my family. Leah. I'm so sorry. Laura adored you more than you'll ever know. I know she'll be an inspirational factor in your future and your path. I know she had impact on you. I know you loved your sister deeply too, and you were totally shortchanged of an amazing, caring, and loving sibling and friend. And it would be a real cliche to say that life is bloody unfair, so I'm not going to say it. I must thank my amazingly charming and wonderful wife, Bosmat, who endured Laura's journey with strength and vision. No mother alive could have done what my wife did over the last 8 years. Nobody could come close. She was Laura's advocate, always fighting to get Laura what she needed and deserved, complaining when necessary to the staff if they didn't treat Laura right, if they pushed her or weren't treating her with a smile. She was always there. She was side by side with Laura throughout radiation and chemotherapy and long recoveries at the Montreal Children's Hospital and at the Montreal Neurological Institute. She hates hospitals, but despite that, she slept for 5 months at the Montreal Neurological side by side with Laura, just to make sure that Laura knew she wasn't alone and she always was getting what she needed. Bosmat, truly, you lost a best friend, your Buba. My dear mother, Phyllis, she's almost 88 years old. She now faces dementia, and as unfair as it seems, she can never know about this tragedy. She was very close with Laura and always asking, how's Laura doing? And I always say, fine, she's resting, and I will continue to say the same. She loved Laura so dearly, and she would not be able to endure this news. So if anybody speaks to my mother, please, Laura's fine. Laura's favorite flower, the orchid. She had a whole table full of orchids. She liked it, strong flower, resilient flower, and you can see why. That's just like Laura herself. Laura loves Israel and her Jewish roots. She was in Israel many, many times, dozens of times. And every time she came back, she felt rejuvenated. And her Hebrew speaking is almost flawless. Not that I can be a judge, but my wife tells me that. She was a talented scientist, 2 for 2 gold medals at the Royal West Academy High School Science Fair, now something continued by her sister. The second gold medal that she had, she already was very sick but didn't know it. She felt nauseous in the morning. We didn't know what was going on. She went in there, she did her best, she won the gold medal. The next day we went to the hospital and had a CT scan, and that's when the nightmare began. That's when at least we knew it began. She also won first prize. There was a public speaking competition. She spoke about her time in a bomb shelter in Israel during the Lebanon War, and she beat everybody in her school and everybody in Montreal, in the English Montreal School Board, and won the gold medal there. Basically, she was amazing at everything she touched, everything she did. She played piano incredibly. She did the RCM. She passed all of her exams. Science fairs, like I said, she made it to Montreal. She got 2 gold medals in her school out of 2 science fairs. She even invented this amazing new toilet that people still talk about. She started making jewelry. She made beautiful jewelry, selling it online. She was taking care of pets as a hobby for other people's pets. She was speaking at public events. She was excelling in school. She being kicked out of high school at such a young age, not being able to go back wasn't good for her. She said, I'm going to go back, I'm going to try. She went to the Montreal High School to continue. And I'll just tell you a couple of quick stories. One year, they were so amazed with her and everything that she was doing, even though she was so handicapped, and she won an Excellence Award and a $1,000 cash prize. And another little story I like to tell, sort of amusing. She had a grade 11 history exam to write at Montreal High School. I took her downtown. She went into the exam. I sat in the next room, as I always did. And I don't know, about an hour later, she came out, and her face was a little puzzled and displeased. And normally she was like, yeah, that was pretty easy. So I asked her why. Was it very difficult? She said, well, it was strange. I could swear this isn't what I studied. I haven't seen most of this stuff. Maybe it wasn't the right exam. And I said, come on. So I said, you just weren't prepared. And she said she was guessing a lot. So we went to the school coordinator, and then she said, oh, damn, I gave you the wrong exam. So she had the History 2 exam, which she hadn't yet studied, instead of the History 1 exam. The next day we had to go back. She wrote the History 1 exam, and ending the story on a true and positive note, she actually passed both exams. Chai Lifeline, thank you very much. Over the years, you're an amazing organization. If anybody's looking for an organization that helps children that are sick, Jewish and not, Chai Lifeline is amazing. They got involved with Laura. They took her to camps, Camp Simcha. They set her on trips to Walt Disney World through Or Meir, another organization that was wonderful to Laura. Thanks for all the meals you delivered us when we really needed them. Delicious kosher meals. And many Chai Lifeline girls sitting in the front here, and boys, have become close friends with Laura, and I'm sure they'll never forget Laura. Nava's not here. She's in Israel there's Nava, Ricky, Tovi, Javi, Naomi, many, 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 many others. Wonderful people, Zach, that came to visit Laura regularly, and we always appreciated it, and above all, Laura did. Laura also helped High Lifeline because she could. She was their spokesperson in Montreal, Toronto, New York, several occasions. In Toronto, she gave an 8-minute speech at the Roy Thompson Hall, which is our equivalent of Place des Arts. There were thousands and thousands of people there, and lovers of High Lifeline. And Yitzhak Perlman, the world-class violinist, was there. We met him, we talked to him afterwards. Needless to say, Laura made an incredible speech. A lot of people added a zero to their donation, and she also received from about 4,000 people a standing ovation, which was well-deserved. Laura would like me to thank those of you that really stuck around through good and bad, from her good health through the difficult journey, many along the way. You all know who you are. I could definitely mention a few. Allison and Zoe, Naveta, Daniel, Carla and Shirley and Jesse, and Leah, 2 Leahs, Michael, my buddy, Anissa and Chubit, the Berstanskis, the Baskins, the Ringos, Ricky and Tovi and Javi, Jonathan and Perla, and Barbara and Miriam, and the list goes on, but you came even when there was nothing to get back. You just saw Laura lying there, and we really appreciate it, and I know Laura did too. I only have 5 pages left. No, I'm wrapping up, I promise, because there's still my dear wife. A little bit about Mount Sinai Hospital. Laura ended up there with palliative care. The care was absolutely outstanding, and we don't always say that, but we want to thank Dr. Ghosh, Roger Ghosh. He was amazing with Laura. He came to our house every week, and he was amazing with Laura throughout her last few years and journey. And the most amazing nurses at Mount Sinai, especially Constance and Nora and Grace, they made such a big difference. They cared about Laura's well-being. You could really feel it, and it really made a deep difference. So thank you very much. For the past 2 months at Mount Sinai, Laura never ceased to amaze us. She used our eye blinking whenever she had nausea, whenever she needed pain medication, and whenever she wanted to say hello or thank you, she blinked her eyes. She was totally incredible. Only a month ago, I played a game with Laura called Fact or False. And it was a true or false. I would ask her a question, she'd think, and if it's true, she would blink, and she got 11 out of 12. So all that to say that Laura was there, Laura heard us, Laura was still smart, Laura as always, and she appreciated everything that we did for her. We also want to thank Dr. Kevin Petreka, the world's greatest brain surgeon. He did 3 surgeries on Laura, the best he could. Definitely, we would have been here a lot sooner if it weren't for his amazing hands. So thank you. Now I will conclude. Please don't take your children for granted. We never did. I guess I could also say if you have young children, don't give them a cell phone. That's how this whole thing started. We can talk about that some other time, but I don't think that children should be using cell phones. A Concordia professor, Dr. Paul Joyce, who worked with Laura, recently said in an email, "I have heard it said that the brightest stars burn the quickest and are the most beautiful. That certainly seems true in Laura's case." Thank you, Dr. Joyce, and I definitely agree with you there. Dear sweet Laura, you're beyond special. You're the most incredible person I have ever met. I admire you. We lost you way too soon. I can't believe I'll never see you in this world again. Getting up every day and knowing you were there was enough. Knowing in a few minutes I can start my day with a 30-kiss bombardment on your forehead, and that you couldn't stop me gave me a strength to make it through the day. Helping you was the most important and meaningful thing I did in my life. Your sweetness and fighting strength will continue to inspire me and Ima and Leah and so many, many other people. I will think of you fondly every moment. Thank you so much for every living moment of inspiration. My heart will be broken and I will love you forever.
Bosmat?
I feel like I'm going to teach. It feels like I'm going to have my Hebrew class. But I'm not. It would be nice, huh? Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. I was afraid that the chapel would be empty, actually. That's me. So thanks for each and every one of you for coming. And thank you for whoever managed to write a message for Laura. It will stay with her. She ain't going anywhere, right? So thank you. Leah wrote this amazing story, but she refuses to read it. If she would read it, it would be much sweeter, but I am going to read it. Today, we lost a fierce, amazing woman. Laura, my beautiful 22-year-old sister and my best friend, passed away after a long and difficult battle with cancer. She suffered for 8 horrible years and experienced more hell than most of us do in lifetime. Laura was the type of person that can lift your spirits on your worst days and put your happiness far before her own. No matter how much of an annoying little sister I was, and you were, it's not in the text, she looked out for me and sacrificed everything she had to offer. Laura, thank you. Laura, you deserve far more than this life gave you. You deserve the world. Your childhood was stolen and your dignity was compromised. But you never complained, not even once. That's true. You are a stronger person and shone brighter than anyone I have ever known. And even though we never got to grow old together and be the 2 bickering old ladies on the front porch that we always thought we would be, I am grateful for every minute I had with you. I will love you until the day I die. You had to read it. Yeah. And I am sure Laura heard it and knows it. On February 3rd, 1995, a baby was born. She was long and skinny, gave me terrible, terrible pain on my sciatica, therefore. She had a very white skin. She was very stubborn and determined and curious. She never changed. From the first second that I had Laura, I totally fell in love with her. Laura became my project, my mission. As I'm coming from Israel, I think I took a militant approach to education. Everything had to be hands-on, no babysitters, no nannies, nobody touches Laura. That was terrible. Not even Eric was allowed to change her diaper, bathe her, play with her flowers in her hair that became very famous in Salomon Schechter. Laura was mine. And this approach never changes, and maybe that's what helped me throughout whatever we dealt together, because the minute I saw that somebody is touching Laura in the wrong direction, I gave it to them. So I have a panel of enemies everywhere. Throughout the MNI children, I left my yelling marks of "you never touch Laura again this way" or else. Complaining, the most important thing for me was that she will have a dignity all through until the end. She couldn't move anymore, she couldn't speak anymore, she couldn't talk anymore, she couldn't ask anymore, she couldn't even show us anymore. She only blinked her eyes. And I am forever, forever indebted to Mount Sinai that treated her in so much dignity and respect. And I knew that even when I am not there, nobody will touch Laura in the wrong way, push her, shove her, dress her crookedly. That was priceless. So thank you, Dr. Gosh. I know that Eric said it already, but it's very important for me. And the nurses, they took care of Laura in the last, בישורת האחרונה in Hebrew, Constance, Grace, Nora. You were with Laura only for a short time, but the impact that you made on Laura and on us will never fade. And so if any of you is here, I don't know, just know that you made a big difference in this lifetime, in the life of her family, but mostly in her life. When Laura was 14, everything started, and the best pain, or the most pain inflicted, was the loss of her long, gushing black hair that went all down beyond her bum. That was her pride and joy. We did everything with it. The braid went to the left and to the right, and the flowers and the loose, and the not loose, and the yes loose. That was her. That was her. And when she started to lose it, in the beginning it was a little bit, then it was a lot, then it was gone. Then they told her that it will never come back. So for Laura it was huge. The reason I'm telling you that is not to make you upset, is to tell you that this was Laura, and throughout everything that we went through, chemotherapy, trials, horrible vomit sessions that never ended, diarrhea everywhere. I mean, throughout all of it, she was militant almost about looking good. Keep her bracelets on both hands, earrings, make sure that the necklaces are all in the right order, from short to long. Going with Laura to an MRI was always scheduled 45 minutes before to take all the jewelry off. And Ima, make sure to put them in the right purses, so then we can put them back in the right order. It was commendable, remarkable, amazing that throughout everything, even in Mount Sinai, when she could no longer talk, it was my role already for a while. Would you like me to shave you? And she would blink, please, please. That's how Laura was, to the last minute, to be, to have dignity, to look nice, to be Laura. She never complained throughout the entire, Eric said it, but throughout the entire ordeal with huge pain, already unmanageable almost, paralyzed, first only in the left, then totally not being able to help us, to clean her, to feed her, to do anything. She still did not complain. The only time I knew that Laura is in huge pain is when I saw tears coming down from her eyes. So me or Eric or Leah will say, would you like more morphine? And her eyes would blink real fast. So that's the only way Laura would complain. That was Laura. I want to read you something. I wanted to read you more, but we decided not to, because I really never got permission from Laura to read. She wrote a lot, and I never got permission to read it. But this one, I'm sure she won't mind. It was already near the end. The writing is very shaky. She can write only with the right, and even the right is. So she can write a little bit at a time. And the day is very bad. And she says that, which I thought was very poetic, the days are going uncalendared. They have no name. They have no numbers. The days are all the same. I am locked in my body. I wasn't outside for more than 2 years. I see the world goes by only from the window of the bedroom. And the world continues. But I'm stuck. I am left behind. I wonder how long it will take, because I don't think I can take it for many, 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 many years, much longer. And it continues and it continues. But the last list that she wrote goes like that. And this is what I am reading right from her diary. Things I can still do. I can make phone calls to all kind of people and organizations. So here it is. She says, I can listen. I can help others by calling them, listening, finding what they need, and find help for them. And this is the last paper that was written. So it's not about her headaches, and it's not about her hair, and it's not about her not being able to talk English and Hebrew anymore. And it's not about not being able to be outside. It's about maybe I can still do something to help somebody else. So I want to ask you all a favor. Please, don't forget Laura. She loved Hebrew. She loved the Jewish holidays. Shabbat was very important for her. She loved babies. She loved salads. I know, I prepare them every night. She loved potatoes. She loved the Shabbat candles, the Hanukkah candles, the prayers. Just don't forget, Laura. Whenever you light a candle, whenever you make a Shabbat, whenever you fast on Yom Kippur, whenever you see a baby, flowers, butterflies, jewelry, think about Laura, if you can. And thank you for everybody that visited and cooked and brought me back and forth, and the rabbis that became our friends, and Tzvi that came to my house and juggled and almost burned the house down, but didn't, and the doctors and the nurses and all of you that came to visit, because the one thing that Laura fears the most, and I believe that she still fears it, is to be alone and is to be forgotten. So we wrote, we used all the letters of the Hebrew alphabet to tell you that she'll never be alone and she will never be forgotten. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric and Bosmat. There are not many days that pass when my children don't ask about their beloved babysitter, Laura. They say our best babysitter. Don't worry, Leah's a close second. When is Laura going to come back? Laura would play card games with them for hours, teach them how to draw. Yesterday, my wife and I debated whether or not we were going to tell them the news. When we finally did, they asked, as every child would, why? It's the same question we're all asking. I'll never be able to answer them. I'll never be able to answer you. We'll cry, we'll mourn, we'll never forget, but we'll never be able to answer. I'd like to answer another question today. Now what? How do we react? What are we to think? What do we feel? What guidance can our Torah give us mourners, mourning such a young, precious soul? I'll tell you how Laura reacted to her challenges with positivity. I don't think anyone as young as Laura who experienced what she did, I don't think I've ever met anyone with such a contagious, positive attitude. Any one of us who visited Laura, oh, how she loved all of us when we visited. We all said the same thing. She never complained. It didn't matter how painful, you would never know. Never ask, why me? Never rage and fury at the injustice of it all. She accepted, and her remarkable attitude changed the lives of so many people around her. Laura, you inspired us. You inspired us with your demeanor. If someone with as many challenges as you could smile, and instead of thinking of yourself, you try to make others feel comfortable. Couldn't I just face life and my incomparably smaller battles with the same positivity that she had? But now here we are today. And as a rabbi, I can't ask you in good conscience to smile and accept and be happy that despite our pain in losing Laura, she's in a better place. It may indeed be true, but for us, it wouldn't be emotionally honest. And while it's considered a virtue to stay positive through one's own suffering, it's not at all a virtue to smile through someone else's. When our fellow is in pain, we need to be there for them, emphasize with them, and not shield ourselves from the pain with our own faith in the greater good of God's plan, whatever it may be. So, if we should search for equanimity, what's the other choice? Is it sadness? It comes very easily on a day like this to be sad, to be depressed. There's a little voice inside us that's whispering, even if you believe in God, that God created our world, maybe He left us alone here, the voice whispers. Perhaps this suffering was in vain, just a chance occurrence without any meaning, an accident of biology, a glitch in the code. And the voice whispers, perhaps God was not here. That would give us plenty to be sad about. The horrible tragedy of a young life lost, but without any meaning. This voice in our minds really seeks to depress us. And depression isn't a feeling. It's a lack of feelings. When a person is so down, he or she becomes numb to everything. That's depression. And it's not good, and it's not safe. So prove it, the voice says today. Where is God? We believe that God is everywhere, even in the most minute details. But where is he now? To find God, we have to look into his book, into the Torah. And so last night I did just that. Every day of the year has a little portion of the 5 books of Moses associated with it. Every portion is divided into 7 parts, 1 for each day of the week. And so I read the portion from yesterday, the day of Laura's passing. You know what the Torah talked about? It talked about a beautiful girl. In Hebrew, an eshet yefat toar. Beautiful can also be understood to mean spiritually beautiful, a really special person. Our matriarch Rachel and Laura's namesake Rivka were given this title as well. And what happened to this spiritually beautiful girl in the Torah? A war. Something out of her control totally. Her body is taken prisoner in this war. And as a result of her hardships, I kid you not, it says in the Torah, she loses her hair. And her general physical appearance diminishes. This is all in the beginning of yesterday's Torah portion. I find that this entire section of the Torah was unusually dark and difficult to understand. But then I opened the portion again, the portion of today. The first thing the portion discussed was the importance of every Jew receiving a dignified and speedy burial. I kid you not. There's very few references in the whole Torah on this subject, and that is the Torah of today. The Torah portion ended with a mention of the trauma of a mother losing her child and how sensitive we have to be to her. How it compares to what's called shiluach hakan, sending the mother bird away from the nest before removing the chicks. There's much more to it than this, I believe. This is just the surface, what jumped out at me. But what's clear to me is that God wants us to know that he is here with us. He doesn't want us to despair or fall into depression. But if we can't be happy, if we can't be sad, where does it leave us? The Torah says there are in fact 2 types of sadness. One type of sadness that leads to depression, a total lack of feeling, which is devastating and demoralizing. But the other is another type of sadness, the sadness termed bitterness, which doesn't lead us to close up. On the contrary, this form of sadness makes us feel more vividly. It doesn't deny God's presence, it challenges it to reveal itself. And most of all, it challenges us to do more. It doesn't keep us in bed, it propels us to fight another day. Like the bitter maror at the Passover Seder, we need a dose of mirirut, of bitterness, to wake us up to what we could be doing that we aren't yet. Look at Leah, Laura's sister. Something is driving her to find new treatments for cancer. She's just amazing. And I can't wait to see her work on the front page of the Gazette. Perhaps we're not all as talented as Leah, but I don't think I'm going to make some great scientific discovery. But can I be a better person? Maybe a harder working rabbi? A more attentive family man? All of these positive changes that we make the little mitzvot that we add, they drive more positivity and light into the world. They help people in ways we can't imagine. And if there's any way we can direct ourselves in the wake of this tragedy, it's not to channel our bitterness, our maror, into a new mitzvah, into a new project, a new positive act. And all of the little mitzvot, all of those little actions that we're inspired to do by Laura, they come together and they are a merit, an elevation for her neshama, for her soul. And I just want to conclude by saying that Bosmat and Eric, the way that you cared for Laura and continue to care for her is truly awe-inspiring. You are the symbol of good parents. You cared for her beyond your own needs and so much more. And that's something all of us will never forget and something that will never end. Please rise for the Kelmale Rachamim.
El Malei Rachamim Shoichein Bameroimim Hamtzei Menucha Nechayna Al Kanefei Ashechina B'malois Kedoshim Utehayrim Kizoyar Harakia Mazhirim Es Nishmas Rivka Lora Bas Asher Shehalcha Le'olama Ba'avur She'anachnu Mispalilim Bi'ad Hazkaras Nishmasa Began Eden Tehei Menuchasa Lochein Bal Harachamim Yastireha Beseser Kinafav Le'olamim Veyitzroyer Bitzroyer Hachayim Es Nishmasa Adonai Hunachalasa Vesanuach Beshaloim Al Mishkava V'noimar Amen.
Amen. The interment will be in Dila Savan. The Shiva will be this week, Monday tonight, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday and Saturday night as well. The family asked that visitors only come after 3 o'clock, and the address is 4005 Melrose in the corner of NDG. Will the designated pallbearers please come forward?